There's a silent force ruining the world. And it's not what you think. It's not hate. It's not greed. It's not evil. It's something far more common and far more dangerous. It's the kind of thing that turns friends into strangers, truth into lies, and ordinary people into blind followers. One man tried to warn us about it. He called it the greatest threat to freedom, and he was killed for saying it out loud. This is the terrifying theory of stupidity, and once you hear it, you'll start seeing it everywhere. If you're someone who sees the cracks in the world and wants to understand what's really going on, you need to hear this all the way to the end. What you learn might shake you, but it could also wake you up. So before we dive in, do this for me. Like the video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to the channel if you believe more people should be thinking deeply. Now brace yourself, because what you're about to hear, you were never meant to. A theory so dark, so powerful, that it explains why some people become dangerous without even knowing it. It's not about evil. It's not about hate. It's something far more silent and far more common. You've seen it before, maybe even felt it around you, but you didn't have a name for it until now. This is the terrifying theory of stupidity. And once you understand it, you'll never look at the world the same way again. There was once a man named Dietrich Bonhoeffer. He lived in Germany during the rise of the Nazis. He was smart, brave, and spoke out when most people stayed silent. But what he discovered during those years shocked him to his core. It wasn't just the evil leaders who caused the destruction. It was the ordinary people, the neighbors, the workers, the teachers, who followed along without asking why. And that's when he saw something that no one else dared to say out loud. Bonhoeffer said stupidity is not the same as being dumb. It's not about low intelligence. It's about something else, something worse. He said a stupid person is not someone who can't think. It's someone who won't think. They stop thinking for themselves and start repeating what they hear. They follow the crowd. They let others do their thinking. And once that happens, something scary takes over. These people can become tools used by anyone who wants power, and they won't even know they're being used. This idea might sound strange at first, but think about it. Have you ever tried to explain something true to someone, and no matter how clear you made it, they just didn't get it? Not because they lacked brain power, but because they refused to listen? They shut down, got angry, or changed the subject? That's the kind of stupidity Bonhoeffer was talking about, a deep, stubborn kind. The kind that refuses to wake up, even when the truth is right in front of it. And here's the scariest part. You can't argue with it. You can't fix it with facts. You can't reach it with reason, because it's not just in the mind. It's in the heart. It's in the will. Once a person gives up their thinking, they lose something very important, something that makes them human, something that makes them free. Bonhoeffer saw this happening all around him. People weren't becoming monsters overnight. They were simply choosing comfort over courage, silence over truth, obedience over thought, and that's how it begins. A little fear, a little pressure, a little desire to fit in, and slowly, without even realizing it, people stop asking questions. They stop thinking for themselves. They stop standing up when something feels wrong, and that's when stupidity grows. Not the funny kind, not the innocent kind, but the kind that destroys everything in its path. This kind of stupidity is dangerous because it wears a mask. It looks normal. It smiles. It goes to work. It pays bills. But inside, it's empty. Empty of responsibility, empty of reflection, empty of soul, and it spreads fast. All it takes is a few voices with power and many ears willing to obey. It doesn't matter if the orders are cruel. It doesn't matter if the words are lies. If someone has given up their mind, they will follow, and they will believe they are right. That's what makes it so terrifying. A stupid person, this kind of stupid person, doesn't know they're being used. They think they're on the good side. They think they're helping. They believe the slogans. They believe the rules. They trust the voice of authority, even when that voice is leading them off a cliff. Bonhoeffer said that evil always needs stupidity to survive, because evil alone can't win. It needs people to carry out its plans. People who won't question, people who won't see. Now ask yourself this, How many times have you watched people defend something clearly wrong just because it came from someone they trust? How many times have people stood by while others were hurt because they didn't want to get involved? It doesn't happen all at once. It happens bit by bit. A little blindness, a little silence, a little looking the other way. Until one day you wake up and wonder, how did we get here? And here's where it hits the hardest. Bonhoeffer believed that stupidity was worse than evil, because evil at least knows what it is. Evil is aware, evil hides. But stupidity walks out in the open. It's loud, it's proud, and it thinks it's doing good. That's why you can't reason with it, because it doesn't think it's wrong. It doesn't feel the need to change. And when that happens, logic and truth have no power. Bonhoeffer also noticed something even more disturbing. Stupidity grows strongest when people feel powerless, when they are afraid, when they believe they have no control over their lives. That's when they start to look for someone else to guide them, someone to tell them what to do, someone to make them feel safe. And that's when they stop thinking. Not because they can't, but because it's easier not to. Thinking becomes too hard, too painful, too risky. So they trade their freedom for comfort, their questions for answers, their doubts for certainty. And once they make that trade, it becomes harder and harder to get them back, because now they're part of something bigger than themselves, a group, a movement, a cause. And when people lose their sense of self inside a group, they stop caring about what's right. They only care about what the group says is right. That's when they start repeating words that aren't their own, believing things they never question, attacking anyone who disagrees, not with arguments, but with anger. Because deep down, they're not defending ideas. They're protecting their identity. And if you question the idea, it feels like you're attacking them. That's why you can't talk to them. That's why facts bounce off. That's why reason feels useless. Bonhoeffer didn't say all of this to insult people. He said it to wake us up. He saw that the real danger wasn't just bad leaders. It was good people becoming blind. And the more we ignore this kind of stupidity, the more power it gains. Because it hides behind good intentions. It hides behind tradition, behind patriotism, behind religion, behind just doing my job. And this is why stupidity, real, deep, moral stupidity, is not funny. It's tragic. Because it takes people who could have done good and turns them into shadows. People who could have spoken up and makes them silent. People who could have thought for themselves and teaches them to follow without question. That's the danger. And it's not just history, it's happening now. All around us, maybe even inside us. The question is, will we notice it before it's too late? If we don't notice it, if we don't stop it, this kind of stupidity spreads like a quiet fire. It moves through homes, schools, offices, cities. It shapes how people think without them even knowing they've changed. And the worst part? It feels safe. It feels normal. It feels like the world is just the way it's supposed to be, until one day someone speaks the truth and gets attacked for it, not by enemies, but by the very people who were supposed to care. That's the heartbreak Bonhoeffer saw. He watched his country fall into darkness, not just because of evil men in power, but because of good people who stayed silent, people who didn't want trouble, people who didn't want to be different, people who said, "It's not my business," or "That's just the way things are." He saw how a whole nation could fall, not with a bang, but with a shrug. Bonhoeffer believed that the only way to fight stupidity was not with louder voices, but with braver hearts. Not more arguments, but more awareness, more reflection, more courage to stand alone when standing alone is right. He said freedom isn't just the ability to choose. It's the strength to think, to question, to act when others won't. That's where real power lives, not in force, not in numbers, but in quiet, stubborn truth. You see, intelligence doesn't protect us from stupidity. Many smart people fall into it. Many educated people support it. Because it's not about brains, it's about will, about the choice to stay awake, about the decision to stay human, even when it costs something. Because there's always a cost. Being awake in a sleeping world hurts, but Bonhoeffer believed it was worth it. And so the question turns to you. What kind of person do you want to be? Will you protect your ability to think, or will you hand it over because it's easier? Will you speak when others are silent, or will you tell yourself it's not your fight? Will you see, or will you choose not to? Because the terrifying truth is this: stupidity doesn't knock on the door. It walks in when we're not paying attention. The final warning Bonhoeffer gave wasn't just for his time, it was for all time, for every generation, for every society. Because this danger, this deep, silent stupidity, never really goes away. It waits. It waits for fear to rise, for pressure to build, for people to get tired of thinking. And when they do, it slips back in, quietly, patiently, and suddenly people start repeating things they don't understand, supporting actions they never would have chosen on their own, forgetting how to say the simple words, "This is wrong." But Bonhoeffer believed something else too, something stronger. He believed that as long as even one person keeps thinking, the darkness cannot fully win. As long as someone stays awake, the fire can't take everything, because the light of one clear, free mind is stronger than the shouting of 1,000 blind ones. And if more people protect their minds, if more people protect their hearts, that light grows and spreads and fights back. That's where you come in, not just as someone watching this video, but as someone living in a world that needs you. Because the truth is, stupidity is always knocking. In conversations, in media, in pressure from groups, in the fear of standing alone. But you don't have to let it in. You don't have to join the silence. You can choose to think, to speak, to ask, to doubt, to care. You don't have to change the whole world, but you can protect your corner of it, your mind, your values, your words. Because those things matter more than you know. One clear thought can save a life. One brave question can stop a lie. One person standing up can give others permission to stand too. Bonhoeffer paid with his life for telling the truth, but his words still live. They remind us that stupidity is not harmless. It is not funny. It is not innocent. It is the weapon evil counts on most. So stay awake, stay human, and when the world tells you not to think, not to feel, not to question, do it anyway, because the future depends on it. Now you know, this wasn't just a theory, it was a warning. Dietrich Bonhoeffer didn't write these words to scare us. He wrote them to wake us up, because stupidity, the kind that gives up thinking and follows blindly, is the one thing evil depends on the most. But you still have a choice. You can choose to think when others stay silent. You can ask questions when others just repeat. You can protect your mind, your voice, your freedom, not just for you, but for the world around you. Because real courage isn't loud. It's quiet. It's daily. It's the decision to stay awake in a world that keeps telling you to sleep. So if this message stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Like this video to keep it alive. Share it with someone who needs to hear the truth. And subscribe so we can keep spreading light in dark places. Together. Your voice matters. Your mind matters. And the world needs more people who refuse to stop thinking. Thank you for watching. Stay awake, stay human, and stay free.